Hi guys, welcome to Cooking at Home with CBC Catering, and we have a surprise for you today. Today, we're going to be making an old classic. So people who've been in catering for 5 years or so, you'll remember this when we were in year 7. We're making our apple turnovers because I know they were a hit, and that's something really easy that you guys could do right now. So what do we need? Well, this is a little bit different because normally apples is done with cinnamon, but we are actually going to use maple syrup this time. Because apples and the maple syrup make a really good combination. You could use any fruit that you would like to in this, but we're just going to have a play with apples. So where do we start? We have our 2 sheets of puff pastry just here. We have some stewed apples. Now you can stew your own, of course, or you can get canned ones. If you are buying canned apples, I recommend that you buy ones that have no sugar in them. We have some brown sugar. We have our egg and a bit of milk here for an egg wash, and our maple syrup, of course. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to show you quickly how to cut this or divide this into 4 equal squares. Just go end to end with the plastic. Make each corner meet. And I can do that again. Oh, and check this out. It's like magic. 4 squares. So cut that down the middle. And I'll just put that to the side for a moment. Okay, so let's get working on the apples. So you can use stewed apples, you can use any fruit really. I've done these at home with mixed berries, nuts, Nutella. You could use pear, fig, anything that you really like. So we're just going for the apple today. Now in your recipe, which you'll find on Sector, it does actually say 4 teaspoons of sugar. Do not use the whole 4 teaspoons of sugar in the apple mix. That is actually for the top, the sprinkling on the top. So what we'll do is, because green apples can be a little bit tart, we're just going to put a tablespoon of sugar. We don't want to take away from the maple syrup. If we put too much sugar in it, it just becomes all too sweet and there's no difference in any of the flavours. So now, if there's anything that you can put extra in, it will definitely be the maple syrup. Okay. So we're just going to give that a quick stir, mix all those ingredients in. Please do not be tempted to put cinnamon in this, because if you do, cinnamon is a very dominant herb and it will just take over everything. So let's go. Shapes. Now, when you're looking at your puff pastry like this side here is not going to be as sticky as where I've got my plastic. So what I suggest is you take the plastic off and have that side up. So put the non-plastic side on your chopping board. When you look at Baker's Delight or things like that, they'll have a very lovely triangle shape. So we'll just do a little triangle. So put some apple in the middle. If you put too much apple, it will explode once it's cooking, but that's not such a bad thing either. And then with your triangle, you just fold the ends, fold it over corner to corner or end to end. And then we're going to use our fork to seal it. Now, as you can see with this one here, I've got lots of apple coming out. That's okay. So I'll just put that on our baking tray for now. Okay, got another few cute little shapes here to show you. This one here is called a pinwheel. So what we do is we just cut on an angle from halfway in the middle to the corners. And we just cut 4 slits into the pastry. Still don't know what I'm doing? Wait for this. Like seriously, how cool is that? So we have a little pinwheel. So what we'll do here is we're just going to put some apple on top. And if you need to, use your egg flip or spatula, pick it up and put it on your tray. Okay, these are 2 of my little favourites. Well, this one now I'm going to do is one of my favourites. So what you do with this one is you cut a square inside the square, rather than going around in circles. Now you're doing the square dance. Okay, now what we do with this one is we just get the corners to meet in the middle. Now this doesn't look like anything spectacular right now, but once this is cooked, it's going to look like a really pretty little flower. And with this one here, we're going to do a very similar thing, but we're not going to cut a whole square. So we just go about halfway top and bottom, and again halfway top and bottom this way. And instead of bringing all the 4 corners in this time, we're only going to bring in 2. For our last treat, what we're going to do is make a scroll. So I'm actually going to do this, first of all, on the bench rather than the chopping board. And I'll come back to the chopping board to cut it up. So when you're looking at puff pastry, there's always this little bit that you can see the plastic on top. That's where you're going to start. So that's where we start our scroll, because it's easier to peel off rather than over here. So keep that towards you, okay? And then with the rest of the apple, just want you to spread it around. I'm going to try something new today, because in catering we're all about trying different things and experimenting. And I've just got this idea to sprinkle some more brown sugar on top of this before I scroll it. Okay, now for the scroll. So we pick up those ends and we start to roll. So just fold it over at first, then peel your plastic off. If you need to, use your plastic as a guide to help you scroll, and then just turn it over. And keep rolling till you get to the very end. Now you'll find that some of the apple is obviously going to come out, so just push it back in and seal it up tight. Okay, if you get to the end like I have and it's not going to stick, it will, so don't panic. Just turn that over. Our chopping board is going to come back out in a moment. Excuse that mess. And we're going to just squeeze these bits together so it remains stuck and it won't come apart once we've cooked it. Don't worry too much if you've lost shape. We can get that back. Okay, when you put this back on the chopping board, this end here that you've just, where the split or the seam is, I want you to lay that flat and put that side on the chopping board like that. Okay, what we're going to do with this one, unlike the other ones which we did later, we're actually going to egg wash this now because it's easier rather than all the little bits. Now, you'll remember why we do an egg wash? To make it nice and shiny. And remember that leftover sugar? When you are cutting this, you've got to be really delicate. I suggest use a really sharp knife, okay? And rather than cut or stab, we're sawing through, okay? So it's a very, very gentle saw. So that way you can maintain the shape of your scroll. Don't forget to space these evenly out on your tray. Okay, with these ones over here, again, we're going to do the egg wash. We're going to do the egg wash and then we're going to put the sugar on top. What the sugar's going to do is like caramelize it a bit. You need to sprinkle it evenly. If you put it all in one chunk, it then burns. So egg wash is good, makes it nice and shiny, it looks good. There is a big difference, not so much to the taste, but a very big difference to the look without it. If you don't have any eggs at home, you can actually just use milk. And if all else fails, lightly brush it with some vegetable oil. Or melted butter, that's even better. I suggest that you line your trays, doesn't matter how good you think you are, because burnt sugar is not a good thing to clean off. And baking paper just saves so much time and energy. So now what do? We put these in the oven at 200 for 20 minutes or so until they've gone golden brown, and then we serve them with ice cream or cream, berries, whatever you like. I'll show you how to serve some up and what I would do. Okay, let's get these in the oven. Look at these, they look so delightful. I'm so happy with those. So these are all the different shapes. You can see how pretty they look. I'm going to plate those up in a moment. And these are the little scrolls that we did before. So I thought I'd just hit it with a bit of an Easter theme. And we put some little chocolates around there. If you've got some Easter eggs, that'd look really cute too. But they're just like little bite-sized ones. So let's have a look at these now. I'm plating these up. Let's just do something very traditional. And we're going to serve the apple turnover with some berries and ice cream. Now, when you pick yours up, if it's got all the little dark bits around it, that's just the sugar. You take that off, don't present it with that. Okay, now here's another trick. If your ice cream is really, really hard and you just don't know how you're going to get into it, put your scoop under running hot water, and that will be enough. I thought I practiced that before. That will be enough to, oh, look at that. That's so much easier now. Apple turnover with ice cream and berries. Can't go wrong with that. And just to finish it off, if you have a different coloured plate, this would really pop. Buon appetito! And there we have it. Lots of different types of apple turnovers, decorated different ways, made different ways. Enjoy, and please send us a photo if you do make them. We'd love to see what you've done with them. Thank you. Ciao.